Okay,
Yep.
so still have AfPIF 2025 right here in Lagos, Nigeria. And we're here with a very esteemed, very known, very distinguished Patrick Christian of TeleGeography. And TeleGeography has been one of the media that I consumed early on in my career that taught me so much about the industry, digital infrastructure, Africa and outside Africa. And it's such a pleasure and delight and honor to be speaking here with Patrick. So Patrick,
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Patrick. So can we meet you? Can we know a bit more about you?
Yes, but as you said, I work for TeleGeography. I've been working there for 25 years now.
Whoa.
And I've been working in Africa for about as long, a little over 20 years, but really started working a lot with AfPIF about 11, 12 years ago.
Wow. So 25 years, how long can someone stay in a company? Obviously not millennials.
Yeah. No, not millennials, but no, it's a good company. We have a good time.
Okay, so you have done very high level sessions here. You did the connectivity session on Tuesday. You did the data center session today. Can you give us an overview of what's happening on across digital infrastructure today in Africa? Connectivity, data center, and what else?
Yeah, sure. We are seeing, I think, finally a shift, growth in the infrastructure itself. So we kind of base a lot of this on what we see the content or cloud providers, where they are, where they're building out, because that's where we see ecosystems take off very quickly. So we see with Africa now, in general, there are 7 different cloud regions and 4 planned. So that's a good sign, because once you have the cloud data centers here, you have local content, and that changes the pattern of traffic. And then instead of the historic 80-20 split where Africa would take about 80% of its content or internet connectivity out to Europe, now you're seeing a shift, especially in sub-Saharan Africa, where it's finally dropped to about just over half of it is back up to Europe, and the rest is in Africa. So we're really starting to see the growth in intra-African connectivity, and a lot of this is due to the cloud providers that are building, but also if there's cloud providers, there has to be carrier-neutral data centers as well, and that's where we're seeing a lot of investment and a lot of growth.
So there's that 50-50 splits right now.
About
that.
Yeah. So, which is a big change, because until recently it was still 60 to 70%. And it depends where in Africa too. North Africa, it's about almost still 100% to Europe, but now sub-Saharan, it's dropped below 60%, very close to 50%.
Okay, so aside what has happened, what else can improve that localization a bit more? Make a bit more data stay in Africa rather than going out? What else can be done?
I mean, a large part of this is based on pricing, and say for example, if you have caches or cache fill, you may have content providers that have their caches, but if cache fill is very expensive because of expensive IP transit, it's hard to keep those caches filled. It's onerous. So we have to get the prices down for this. And a lot of this is through competition. The more providers you have, the lower the prices are. So there has to be this movement, I think across Africa anyway, the kind of tipping the scales from having a few very expensive customers, or they pay a lot, to kind of more general, opening up a lot of these services to kind of the greater population. And we're seeing this like in fiber to the home, et cetera, because that's what's really going to unlock the demand. And as we see those prices drop and available to more people at a lower price, then you'll see IPT and everything start dropping and a lot more infrastructure building out.
Okay, so you have talked a bit about some of the trends in Africa, sort of the hurdles we've seen it overcome. Can you highlight 1 or 2 hurdles that are very key for us to quickly address, and the solutions you propose for them?
1 or 2, I'm sorry, model?
1 or 2 hurdles or challenges you want Africa to resolve, and the solutions you propose for them based on what you're seeing in Africa and in other markets.
Yeah, I mean, the big thing, the way connectivity is set up in Africa right now, and where the cheaper connectivity is on the coast through submarine cables. And something that's missing in Africa that's also not great for redundancy is there is a lack of terrestrial networks, and especially cross-border terrestrial networks. So as companies begin to build and invest in these networks, prices are going to remain high once you get a little bit away from the coast, and we really have to focus on building out and more competition in the terrestrial area.
Okay, so if there was a silver, so everywhere you talk about Africa, there's usually a gap. Right now, the initial gap we started here with was traffic leaving the shores of the continent going out. But then we also have the access gap, we have the data center gap, we have what would be, if there is such a thing, a silver bullet? If there's such a thing that we could do and say, okay, this is what we all need to do. We all need to focus on, whether you're an operator or you're a policy maker or you're an investor. What is that one thing we all need to focus on?
It's hard because it's so many different things. But good like regulation that does not hinder growth but actually helps growth of the ecosystem is what's needed. So the more hindering a regulatory regime is, the slower the economy grows. So we have to stop fearing dropping prices and allowing multiple providers to work in the same area, or licensing to facilitate licenses. This type of thing always stimulates the market. And in the end, that's the win for everybody, because you bring a lot of investment, a lot of players, and lower prices, higher demand. So once we get to that tipping point, it helps.
Thank you very much, Patrick.
Thank you. Nice talking to you.
Great advice. Thank you.